Hi, everyone. Welcome back to How Have We Never Seen This Before? This week we discussed After We Collided.
Join us as we give you some fun facts about the after books and the making of the movies, as we discuss Tessa's horrible fashion sense and how we're reverting back into our 14-year-old selves. And stay tuned until the end to hear us give our results for the Who Should We Date, Hardin or Trevor quiz. How Have We Never Seen This Before is a podcast where two best friends watch iconic films and trending TV shows that they've never seen before.
Each week we discuss a different movie or show from a zillennial perspective.
We're rolling. Welcome back, everybody. It's
Hi.
season 3.
We've made it so far.
And you can see depending on where you're watching or listening to this, you can see our faces. We really dressed up for this. There is hair in my face. I'm itchy. But we're excited. We've done some changes for season 3. We're going back to movies. Thank God we're back to movies. We are videos, as I just said. We are monetized. We haven't made a cent, but we're getting there.
Money moves only in 2021.
Yeah, I'm hoping by the end of 2021 we have made $5.
Yep.
But we'll see. Anyway, so for this start of season 3, we really wanted to go back to our roots. We wanted to go back to what defined us in high school, and that is One Direction. Yeah. So if you don't know us, we love them. We always have. And our, my sophomore year, your junior year mostly, was when After was really at its peak. And After is a One Direction fan fiction novel series.
Yes.
We both read this entire series on our phones.
Together.
Hundreds and hundreds of chapters of One Direction fan fiction.
We also did this multiple times too, not just once.
Yeah, no, I've definitely read it at least 3 times.
Yeah. You also purchased the book for me too for my birthday one year.
I did. Because they got turned into actual books and the names were all changed because obviously One Direction, they're real people. They couldn't have their names in this. And then they became movies. So after one came out like a year and a half ago, I remember we watched it at your house.
Yeah.
After a concert, and that was quite a movie. So After We Collided is the second one, and it just came out on Netflix. We are recording this in advance. Also, we have gone through with our plan, so this is being recorded in advance.
Yep.
Just say no.
As you can see, there are Christmas lights still up. It is very much appropriate still to have Christmas lights up. Yeah, but by the time you're seeing this, it will not be appropriate, so
it's fine. But anyway, this is us reviewing After We Collided, a travesty of a movie in my opinion.
Okay, well, I have to disagree. I think that this movie was everything the first one was not.
I mean, okay, so what I felt like was the first one was like, they totally missed the mark. And then with this one, they were just like, we missed everything in the first one, so let's do everything and more for this one. And they, hopefully, number 3 is like my happy medium. But I felt like they went so far with this.
I feel like this one was really for the fans. And I have some fun facts about it that explains why this one is more the way it is.
Well, if you want to go ahead with those now, you certainly can, because I didn't even remember what happened in the first one. and I was going to rewatch it. I just couldn't put myself through it.
Okay. Well, so basically Anna Todd, she's the one who wrote the original fan fictions. She wrote the script for the movie, but Wattpad Studios, I guess, is the company that helped make this film. They were tough in negotiating her contract for the first one, which is why there wasn't really any swearing. There was no sex, everything that occurred in the first one was completely different in the film adaptation. So this time around, Anna Todd renegotiated her contract and she ended up getting an R rating, which made her so happy because then she could really make the movie that she was trying to make the first time. And so that's why there's actual cursing. It seems a little bit like more like the books.
More toxic.
More toxic. We don't love the abuse, but
it's what makes the books in a very like terrible way, but
yeah,
you just have to, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. And now, like, giving Anna Todd so much more freedom, they kind of had to work around the mistakes that they made in the first film with the plot because it was completely different than the books. So they had to almost like completely eliminate Zed's storyline and just change around everything and try to work around the mistakes they made in the first one to make the second one more like the books. So I appreciate that she was really trying to switch it up. I don't blame Anna Todd. I blame Wattpad Studios.
The fact that it's a studio, like, it's just an app for fan fiction. It's not a film studio.
Mm-hmm. And on top of all of this, they were only given 25 days to shoot this film.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Dylan Sprouse, who plays Trevor, ended up finishing his scenes 2 weeks before Tessa and Hardin did, which means that he like pretty much only filmed like 1 week.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that was it. Oh, I guess the last thing I have is I'm pretty sure this film was sponsored by Victoria's Secret, Uber, and LaCroix.
Yes, there was one other one that I saw that like very, very clear product placement.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah.
Hyundai. I'm pretty sure
Toyota.
too. Well, that too, I think. I was looking up all the product placement in this movie, and there is like at least 20 different products that they like blatantly showed.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I don't know how you get financing for this movie. Yeah. So I guess like thinking about our characters. So in all of my notes, I have their real names. I hate all the fake names they came up. They came up with the worst fake names ever.
Hardin,
Zed. What's the other?
Landon?
Landon's the other one.
Landon.
You couldn't pick a more normal name.
Like Hardin?
Luke, maybe? Luke for Landon, or I don't know, Henry, or I don't know, something else. Hardin? Who's named Hardin?
It's not right.
I remember when the books came out, I was so upset. Like the actual books. Like who picked this name? I'm still not over it. So yeah.
It's so embarrassing.
But to catch anybody up, Hardin is a bad boy. Yeah. They're like very flat characters. They're both toxic to each other, to everyone. They're both kind of awful.
Yep.
Yeah. We've also got some side characters too, but we love you, but I don't think
we love you, side characters. You matter so much to me.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, I always like complain about how little the side characters matter in like movies and shows like this, and they often end up commenting or liking our Instagram photos, so trying to be a little bit more careful.
Now that you can see our faces.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting into the movie. So one thing I could not remember the first movie, and immediately going into the second movie, there's just like a lot happening that I don't think they ever mentioned in the first one. So immediately we're going into Tessa's first day at her internship at Vance Publishing. I don't think they, honestly, they don't think they mentioned that in the first one. And we see, I'm going to say Harry.
I'm afraid we'll get sued if we say Harry.
All right. Hardin. Hardin is also narrating at the beginning, and he's like, this is a love story, but you've heard this love story, but it's not this love story. And it's just like, what are you talking about? And there's all these flashbacks to the first movie. Some things I didn't think actually happened, and they just kind of threw it in there, but apparently they did move in together in the first movie.
Yeah, that was like a huge plot that like defied the first book.
Yeah. Like, but the one thing they didn't like do the bet in the same way in the first movie, so I didn't know how they were gonna really incorporate that into this one, and they basically didn't at all. So
They did, but they changed it. It was so weird.
yeah, it just didn't line up with the toxicity of like how bad it was supposed to be, and like where all their trust issues came from.
Yeah.
So
It was like the lengths that like Hardin went to like prove that he and Tessa had sex. That was really like, because the bet was about them having sex. It wasn't about him saying I love you to her, which is what the first movie made it seem like it would be. But
yeah.
then the second movie they were talking more about like the sex part of the bet,
Which never happened in the first one.
yeah.
So yeah.
Confusing. This this one takes place a month after Tessa finds out that she was just a bet to Hardin and his friends.
Yeah. And so we see Hardin in an abandoned parking lot, and this homeless man comes up to him, and I was like, oh my God, that's her dad. It is her dad. Because they made it so obvious. And they that's kind of it. It's just like her going to her, we see him in the parking lot, and then we see her going to her first day at her job. And they really just like throw all these characters at you. This is the first time we meet Trevor, who is played by Dylan Sprouse.
Fucking Trevor.
And Trevor is this poor boy who gets thrown in the middle of everything. We also meet Kimberly, who is played by Caroline from the Vampire Diaries. And then we also meet Christian Vance, who is played by that guy from How to Get Away with Murder. Which I guess you don't know.
I don't know any of these people except Dylan Sprouse.
Okay, I watch a lot more TV than you. But my main problem with the very beginning of this movie is that they made Vance seem very angry and very controlling. And Vance is supposed to be this like escape for Hardin. Like he was there for his mom and is this great guy who really just like redirects his life kind of. And it was very strange to see him be the exact opposite of what I think, like in my opinion, Vance is supposed to be.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Every time I hear the name Vance, I always think of Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. So it's hard for me to like switch from like thinking of Bob Vance to this Vance because
Yeah.
yeah.
But so we also in this first part at her job, she spends literally the entire day of her first day of her internship cleaning her office.
Wait, also, I'm sorry to interrupt. Her only responsibilities are to read 5 manuscripts. Like like she would be doing like administrative work for this company as an intern. B, they wouldn't give her that big of a responsibility to read manuscripts. Like,
No.
it baffles me.
Like, I
Baffles.
know, but that is how Anna Todd wrote it. She gets this job because Hardin is like, Christian, I'm in love with this girl. Give her a paid internship. Give her $800 a week.
Pay for her car insurance.
Pay for her car insurance. Pay for her trip to the hospital. And then on her second day, I'm gonna pay for your clothes and we're going out to a club and you get a suite in the hotel. What?
I was so uncomfortable by that.
It was
Holy crap.
like yes, this does happen in the book and it's all like completely unbelievable. Like this would never happen, but she has been there for at least a month when this happens in the book. And the way this, I don't know why they're like, okay, she's gonna spend the entire first night of her, like she sleeps there, she sleeps at her desk, and then she wakes up, it's 9 a.m. He's like, get in the car, we're leaving. And they go do this to a club and all this. And it's like, she is an intern, a freshman in college, an intern. I don't care that Hardin and Vance have a history. This wouldn't happen. No.
Also, like, can we like contemplate the legality of your employer like sending an underage 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 18-year-old girl to a nightclub to like be sexy in order to secure a deal with like a potential investor? Like,
Yeah.
baffled here.
It's like, it's so ridiculous. And like, okay, this I shouldn't be bringing this up, but like her outfit is so bad. Like, Kimberly, what were you doing? The like goldish olive dress with bright gold booties? Like, no.
Also, like the cut of the dress, like it reminds me of like a pirate.
Like, it's so bad. Like, I know you're better than this. Like, what?
Like that was supposed to be Tessa's like new look, like the
Yeah.
sexy debut, and she's wearing like the ugliest outfit.
I can't.
She looks like one of those people in Central Park that like doesn't move and then you have to change for them.
Yeah. Oh, it was just awful. But my favorite part about this scene is that there is an Anna Todd cameo.
Yeah.
As soon as they like go into the club, you see these two girls talking to another girl and they're like, "Oh, so what kind of books do you write?" And then she's just like, "Oh, you know, this and that." And that's Anna Todd.
I think that she should do that in every movie.
Just that line.
Yeah, in every movie, like not even hers, just every movie.
It's like Stanley's cameos and all of the Avengers. But it's Anna Todd being like, "Yeah, I just write this and that."
The Walmart version of Stanley.
It's so bad.
Okay.
So bad.
Not to move on, but I feel like we have to.
Yeah.
So while Tessa is at this nightclub just getting sloshed off of a giant punch bowl filled with Sex on the Beaches, Harry is
Sex is on the beaches.
Sex is on the beaches. Yes, you're right. Meanwhile, Harry is at a college party to meet up with his friends. He runs into Steph, Tessa's old roommate, Molly, his ex-flame who hates Tessa, Zed, and the rest of the gang. And Molly keeps coming on to Hardin, and he pushes her away, and it's just really cringy. And yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
do you know that the girl who plays Molly, like, I only know her because she was like popular on Vine.
Yeah, no, you told me that when we watched After, and somehow I ended up on her Instagram page one day, and she was like pregnant,
Yeah.
and I was like, Molly pregnant? Who? What? Um, it's very weird seeing like something like this come to life, and you have, I don't know, it's like weird, very weird to me.
That's weird.
Yeah. And like one thing though, like why did they never end up bringing in Niall and Louis? Like they just don't exist. Like I get that they're much more side characters in the books as well, but they do exist. And like Louis helps Tessa like figure out Hardin, and like he's like usually like there for her and like more supportive as like one of the frat boys. Um so
Hmm.
I wish they were there because I think it would give like another side to it, you know?
Yeah, it would add a little bit more depth.
Yeah.
Why would Tessa and Hardin ever want to be around those people if they've been nothing but mean to Tessa?
Yeah.
Like, obviously they want to be around those people because there are some nice ones in their friend group, and they like completely leave it out in the movies.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also like how so Steph in the books has a boyfriend named Tristan, but in the movie they've made it that Steph has a girlfriend named Tristan, and she's played by Pia, it's Pia Mia, I think. And she was like a friend of Kylie Jenner's when they were little. And she's like a singer and stuff. But like I think it's interesting how they changed it. So she has a girlfriend named Tristan, and just
Yeah,
adding that in there.
I like that. And I also like that they changed Landon, that's his name, right? Landon.
Yeah.
Landon's mom, because
Right.
in the original movie she was white.
Yeah, it was so weird. I don't know why they also changed Harry's dad, Ken. The actor changed for that as well. I mean, the actor change for Landon's mom makes complete sense. It was very weird that she was white. I don't
It
know
doesn't
why
make
she was
any
white.
sense.
Yeah. So, um, but so back to the movie.
Yeah, sorry, got off track again.
After Harry's at this frat party, he gets a call from drunk Tessa. And this happens a lot in the book and only happens once here, but she calls him and's like, I look really good right now. And then she just wasted calling him, and he knows that, and he's like, I have your location. Like, why would you call me? So he just goes.
Yeah, also this is important to note for the future. He has her location. Just remember that. We'll
Yeah, so
bring it up later.
he can find her at any time. So he does. He drives all the way to wherever the heck they're staying and is like banging on the door to her hotel room. I don't know how he got the number. Like that you can't figure out. But
Oh my god, wait. The way that he says, like, when he's on the phone with her, he's like, you are wasted.
He doesn't have the right British accent to be Harry, and I think that's what throws me off the most. But while he's going over to this hotel room, Tessa's in the room with Trevor, and she spills wine all over his shirt and his pants. So, of course, Tessa, the innocent, naive girl as she is like, give me your shirt, give me your pants. We're just going to soak them in water. Like, she does the entire shirt, which will just dye the entire shirt. I don't know where she was going with that. But Harry busts into the room and Trevor's just naked, basically. And this is the first time that we hear him say, fucking Trevor.
Oh, you have to do it in his accent.
You do it.
Fucking Trevor. Wait, that was bad. That was bad.
Okay, I'll give you another chance.
Fucking Trevor.
But 20 times louder and I'm much more angry. I can never see the name Trevor, hear the name Trevor without that playing in my mind, or just like seeing a flash of all caps, fucking Trevor. Just because that's what this has done to me.
I mean, the name Trevor never really was appealing to me in the first place, but now, like, I cannot read the word Trevor without thinking of Harry Styles.
If anyone ever came up to me and was like, "Hi, my name's Trevor," I'd be like, "Gotta go, bye."
Remember our history teacher named Trevor?
I do.
Good time.
Yeah, I could never think of that name the same way. But so immediately when Harry sees Trevor, he basically kicks him out of the room, no clothes on. He's just like, "Okay, bye." And Tessa, in her drunken stupor, she starts to tease Harry, and things escalate very quickly. And we see a lot more than we have seen in the first movie.
We got the R rating, guys.
We got the R rating, and it went pretty far, I'd say. And also this entire like sex scene, them like leading up to this, it's directly from the book. Bad acting and all. Tessa's like, or Hardin says, sorry, Hardin says, "Tell me I'm the only one." And she says, "You're the only one," but with no emotion.
You are the only one. I've seen more emotion from a cheese sandwich. Like, it's so bad.
It's really bad. And that's kind of like, all right, that's what we missed from the first one. We missed these scenes that were told in rather graphic detail in the books.
Yeah, I mean, I left these scenes with the thought in my head, like, I should call him. So, like, I think that it was effective.
Okay, moving on. It's the next morning. It's the next morning. It's your turn. It's your turn. It's the next morning.
It is indeed the next morning. The sun has risen. It is a new day. And Tessa and Hardin are waking up, and things are back to normal. Yelling, screaming, possessiveness. I think she throws like a potato at him at one point.
What she throws at him.
It looked like a potato.
I thought maybe a roll from it was from a dining cart outside the room.
No, maybe not a potato then. But yeah, you can see how possessive he is and how emotionally abusive he is, and you can see Tessa being emotionally abusive, physically abusive, even with the throwing random items.
Honestly though, like, I'm glad this was in there because we didn't see any of this in the last movie, and that was like a really defining part of their relationship, and like explain like why they were so back and forth, and like we just didn't see that before, and I'm glad, but they did it in the worst way possible. They did this.
Yeah, really bad acting, but yeah. So she lets it slip that she kissed a random guy at the club the night before, and then he yells, and then he says he slept with Molly, and then it's just a mess. And then she walks downstairs like looking disheveled and hungover, and she runs into her coworkers, and Trevor's there. He got them all coffee. Definitely product placement with the Starbucks cups. Yeah. And she asks him how he knows Hardin, and he says that Hardin used to work at Vance Publishing as an intern before, but obviously Hardin with his anger issues cannot keep a job, so it did not work out.
So now Hardin shows up at Landon's house. Landon is actually going to be his stepbrother, basically, or he already is.
Yeah, they're married.
They're already married. Okay, because in the books they weren't married yet. But so he goes to Landon and says that he needs his help because he loves Tessa and just like doesn't really know what to do. But then instead says that he's gonna go to London to get away from her, which like never made any sense. That was in the book too. And we see Tessa at work after this interaction, and Liam texts her and is like, Harry showed up, he's going to London, but he also said he loves you, and all this back and forth. And we also find out that it is in fact Tessa's birthday tomorrow. So Trevor, as a wonderful birthday gift, gives her a complete breakdown of how much money she spends on an Uber every week and how much better it would be if she had a used car. And says like, I found this car for you and blah, blah, blah. But in the book, Harry finds a car for her and bullies the dealer into giving her a better deal.
Yeah.
Which I think would have been much more interesting.
Yeah, it would have been way funnier.
But as he tells her all this, she actually kisses Trevor. And as he leaves, he just walks into the door frame.
Same.
Which was great to see, but I'm kind of upset that nothing ever came of that. Like, Harry's like issues with Trevor is like huge, and I wish they could have done something with that.
I know. Yeah. I feel like maybe in the third one, it kind of like the way it ended kind of left an open door for Trevor a little bit, but maybe we'll see. I don't see much coming out of it.
Yeah, I don't know where they're gonna go with any of this.
Yeah. The other thing that like, okay, there's so much that annoys me, but to pile on top of it, the whole series takes place in Washington, like Washington State at the University of Washington. And it's around Christmas time and everyone's walking around in summer clothes, all sweaty, like, and they're talking about the heat throughout the entire movie. And so I would just like to ask why.
Like have you ever been to Washington? Like, I haven't been to Washington, but I know more than like, oh, it's hot.
Yeah. Like, has anyone seen Twilight? Like, that's all I know about Washington, and it looks rainy and cold all the time.
I think that is accurate.
December. Yeah. And so I'm just confused as to why everyone's walking around like they live in like Southern California.
Yeah, I have no idea. But we just accept it and move on.
Yeah. To even further pile on here, I have in my notes, of course, Tessa has an Android. Like, of course she does.
They couldn't get the product placement from Apple. Really?
Like,
but she would. She would have an Android.
Doesn't she have one in the books?
I don't remember if they specified.
I think she has a weird phone.
I guess it's time to reread.
I can't do the Debbie Ryan hair flip with my headphones.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, no.
But so after all this, like getting a car, whatever, we see this. Okay, this part really bothered me. Tessa goes back to her apartment that she has with Harry. My question is, where has she been living this whole time?
Yeah,
because they haven't been together. And she hasn't been at Landon's house. And who knows where she's been? I don't. But anyway, that's besides the point. So she goes back to the apartment because she's trying to pack up all her stuff. Don't know where she's gonna go. Because she thinks Harry's in London. And as she's in there, she finds a Christmas present from Harry for her because she's super nosy and just can't not do anything. And then she cries, and then Harry shows up. Hardin shows up with, I don't know the mom's name. Her name, Harry's real mom's name is Anne.
I think it's like Triss.
Triss? Like from the Divergent series, like Beatrice?
I think maybe it's Trish.
Trish? Okay, we're gonna call her Trish.
Wait. Let me look it up.
Well, while you're doing that, he shows up with his mother, and she's just like, you have to stay. Like, she doesn't know that they've broken up, so she's like, you have to stay. So Tessa decides to stay the night, and Harry's mother, whose name is
it's It's Trish.
It's Trish. Okay.
Where I got Tris from.
I mean, it's close, but okay. So Trish falls asleep on the couch, and then Tessa's like, well, we can share the bed. You don't have to sleep on the floor, Hardin. And obviously things escalate, and it goes from PG to R really fast.
He like fondles her belly button.
No. Yeah, it was quite yeah.
I mean, all I could think about at the end of the scene was I should call him.
Okay. Don't do that. No, actually do that.
You don't even know who I'm calling.
Yes, I do.
You're
If
right.
I don't, then we have to have a discussion later. But anyway, she decides the next morning to actually go home and see her mother. She gets home and we see Noah. Noah is her ex-boyfriend who was a year behind her in school, so he's still at home and a senior in college, senior in high school. He's very weird, very dorky. He wears sweaters from The Gap, and he's just like her brother. So it was always like they were expected to date, but like it was just weird. Basically Noah like accidentally brings up this thing about her dad. We don't know what it is, but as loyal readers, we know that her dad is like in the area and he's homeless, and he's also the guy from the beginning of the movie. And her mom calls Noah while immediately after he says this, and they have a fight. But here's my problem with this part of the movie. Her mom is like supposed to be an awful, awful, abusive mother, like emotionally abusive, just like terrible. And in this one scene, she's like trying to be a cool mom, and she's supposed to be like this hyper, in my mind, like hyper religious, like strict Catholic mom who's like, you can't do anything. And that just like really wasn't it for this. And her mom was also like FaceTiming her while Tessa was on the phone with her. So it was like this very weird, like, why didn't you like consistency, please?
Yeah, there's a little inconsistency issue there. Yeah, I agree. Like her mom in the books is like very abusive towards her, and like in the movies, especially the first one, you don't really see that like rising tension between them, and then that like climax where they both are like, I can't speak to you anymore. Like you don't see that. You just see one like single incident that like breaks them apart.
Yeah.
But in the books, like there's so much more to it, and she's like so awful.
Like oddly enough, like I think, like I'd never call the books good, but they're better than the movies. Like they add more than these movies have ever done, and they should have done so much more.
Yeah. I mean, it's the issue where like you can only like think about how many hundreds of chapters that we read for each book. And obviously you can't fit it all into there, but I wish that they would have like had a little bit better, not a little bit, a lot better character development, because everyone is so one-dimensional, and like it's just not exciting to watch. It's so boring.
Yeah. They definitely, honestly, I think they cut out like half of the chapters for each of these movies, and like I get it's necessary, but it just there's just not enough left.
Like these movies are not filled with enough conflict. I think that's the issue, because you don't see how like Hardin is the worst person ever. You only see like one fight and then him being nice the rest of the movie. Movie. Yeah, so that's frustrating. But yeah, so after she gets into that huge fight with her mom, she goes home to the apartment to Hardin and his mom. And so then we cut to a nightmare that Hardin keeps having about his childhood. And Tessa just kisses the nightmare away, everything's fine. But then the next day, Tessa starts asking Hardin's mom while he's asleep all of these questions about like his childhood. And we find out that Hardin's mom was assaulted, and Hardin had to watch, and it's kind of the dad's fault for getting involved with like seedy people during his like alcohol abuse days. I don't think they fully explain that in the first movie. I think they just like graze upon the point, but never
No,
like
I
get
don't.
to it.
No, and they don't even really explain it in this part either. I think we see a lot more of it in the second in the books.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then we kind of like actually realize why Hardin hates his dad, um, and why he himself struggles with substance abuse and anger issues. And like you get a glimpse at his life, which like I just wish they would have had in the first one, like because
Yeah.
like it makes so much more sense. But yeah.
Like it doesn't justify anything that he does, but it really explains where his mindset is and a lot of it.
Yeah. And I'd also love to know like why his mom is so forward. Like she's like so forward. Like she'll just like walk around the house like pretending like it's hers. And it's not even Hardin's.
Yeah. I mean in the books it is, but in this one they're like taking care of it for his dad knows
He's
or
supposed to be
something.
watering the plants. That's what it is for this woman, this professor in Italy. So
Yeah.
he's not even supposed to be staying there.
Yeah, I don't really know how it works.
Yeah, it was weird. But yeah. So then like Hardin wakes up and everything's fine. And he decides to give Tessa a perfect day as a birthday gift, meaning that they can do whatever they want or whatever she wants, and he cannot complain. And so she decides to take him ice skating. And I was laughing so hard at this scene that like I had to like stop and go back. So he's like obviously can't ice skate, and they keep showing the same clip of him like flying backwards and like knocking out.
It's like I just don't understand why they couldn't have him fall over twice. Like it's really like it comes out of nowhere. He just like is standing and then he's falling. He's standing and then he's falling.
It's the same shot too.
It's the same shot, and both times she's like, "Are you okay?" But it's the same. Are you okay? Like, why?
The fall is like so dramatic too. Like you know that like Hero probably had a stunt double do that for him.
Yeah. Oh, the actor's name that plays Hardin, his name is Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so.
And so I was just like, I was literally like yodeling. I was laughing so hard. And yeah, that was great. And it reminded me of like when we went ice skating.
Me too. I write. I wrote oh, maybe I didn't actually write it, but I thought of us.
Yeah. We went ice skating what, last year?
Yeah, last year in like January.
Oh my gosh.
Probably like around this time before everything
pre-COVID
fell apart.
Yep.
Yeah. But the second half of this perfect day makes me so mad.
The infamous yoga scene.
Like, it makes me mad because they're supposed to have signed up for yoga classes. Like, that's their gym class as a college credit. And instead, her perfect day includes yoga, which, like, it's the same concept, but it's not the same because, like, it's not the same.
You're really heated about this yoga issue.
I am. Like, it just like doesn't line up the way I want it to. But for some reason, Tessa is in front of Harry at this yoga class. And it's a hot yoga class. And she's just kind of like doing all these yoga moves in front of him. And he can't stand it. He's very turned on. So
it's so inappropriate.
It's so inappropriate. Like the fact that they weren't kicked out of the class sooner. And eventually she just like kind of falls over and he's like, let's go. And she's like, yeah, let's go. And they go home and they get in the shower fully clothed, which is like, okay, fine. But then they like take each skin tight layer off.
Oh my God, putting leggings on and taking them off when you're wet is
Wet. I know.
the hardest thing.
I don't know how they could have ever, like, they make it, like, they do laugh through it and everything, and they make it funny. And yeah. But my question is, where is Hardin's mom? This entire time, like, she's just nowhere to be found. And they're just, like, doing this in the shower, which doesn't have a door, by the way. And, like, I don't know.
There are so many things to unpack here. Like, first of all, like, Hardin's mom, like, she's only in town for, like, a few days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he decides to spend the entire day, like, she's from London. She came from England. And he decides to spend the entire day with Tessa instead of his mom, who he only sees, like, twice a year. Yeah. That's the first one. The second one, like, where the fuck is she? Like, where is she?
Where is she?
And the third thing is, like, just this whole scene. Did you know that this was the most choreographed scene in the whole movie?
Oh my God. And you actually see him with his clothes off.
Yeah.
I was surprised by
his
that.
His little butt.
You just see his butt. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And then there's a really awkward part in it where he, like, wraps his, like, hand around her neck, but it's, like, ever so slightly, like, placed there, and it just looks so awkward. Like, it's so half-heartedly, like, there.
I just don't know how they could have filmed this with, like, not straight faces, but, like, you know, like, how?
It's called acting.
Yeah, but they can't. At least not for this.
I mean, I ended the scene thinking I should call him.
Stop. Stop.
They did their job.
Stop. Oh my God. Okay. Moving on to the end of the perfect day that seems to go on forever. Kimberly calls Tessa while they're in the shower. And she's like, oh, I gotta get this. So they stop. And she's like, I need your help. I need you to take care of Smith.
Smith?
That's his name? That's a kid. Oh,
that's his name?
The kid's name.
It's Smith.
I'm like 99% sure it's Smith. Anyway, that's Vance's kid. So I don't know why they never bring this up, but Vance's wife died and they have this child, Smith. I swear that's his name. And I was, like, really excited to see Hardin interact with Smith, because that's, like, a big part. Like, you see his soft side with the kid, not like soft side, but, like, just a gentler side. And they, like, don't do anything with it. He, like, accidentally curses in front of the kid, and then the kid just keeps cursing and just keeps saying words over and over again, and that's the entirety of the scene. Yep. Until Kimberly comes to pick him up. Okay. And then we finally see Harry and Tessa get it going in her office.
This part made me mad because it wasn't, like, as high stakes as the book was.
I know, because in the book, it's, like, literally her first day. Like, this happens on her first day. Harry comes in for lunch and he's like, oh, you got your own office. So he shuts the door and, like, closes all the blinds. And they, like, clear off her desk, and, like, her first day, that's what they do instead of cleaning the entire office.
And let's just say there is a tampon involved.
Oh, God.
Do you remember now?
I forgot about that. That happens too. We're not going to talk about that.
But, like, in this scene, it's like he gets her some really ugly jewelry.
So ugly.
That seems to just put her in the mood. And then he's like, no one's here, and then screams hello. And the way he said it killed me.
Like, okay, the bracelet that he gives her, it's the ugliest charm bracelet I've ever seen.
It looks like something that like you would get at Claire's.
Like somehow engraved on this little book charm, it says whatever souls are made of, that like thing, his and mine are the same, but on this tiny book charm. And then there's a music note and something else. I don't know why the music note is there,
Yeah,
unless like it's to reference Harry.
but Tessa has such horrible taste in music. Like they don't mention this, but she's like obsessed with the
The
Fray.
Fray. And I love that they have the Fray in this. Like in the soundtrack, they have the Fray, and it makes me so happy.
So funny.
It's so funny. I don't know, like the bracelet, like whatever. Ugh.
So ugly.
So bad.
And of course, they flash like her Victoria's Secret underwear like they do in every scene.
Yeah.
Like the logo is like shimmering in the light, which is just so annoying. But
I don't know. I don't know.
But you know, I should call him. You're gonna kill me at the end of this.
Yeah, I will.
It's my turn. Sorry.
It's your turn.
Okay, so after that riveting scene, Hardin's mom gets a call from Ken, the dad, and he invites everyone over for Christmas, and they actually show up, and they're wearing summer clothes, which is just really freaking annoying to me. But whatever. And at the party, Harry seems to be guzzling wine. And Karen, the stepmom, she
has to have a different name though, right?
Karen? Oh, because that's actually Liam's mom's name.
Yeah, so like what is it?
I don't think they changed it.
I don't know if they said her name ever, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Karen Scott.
Oh.
Yeah, so
that's
they
weird.
didn't change it. Yeah. So she cooked this meal for like 50 people. And I don't understand why they wouldn't have gotten it catered with that Chancellor money.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Karen loves to bake, though. We do, like, from the book, we do know that, but they don't really touch on that.
Yeah. We don't really get much from Karen at all, honestly, which is sad because she's a great character.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Hardin is drunk and he starts causing a ruckus at this party. He freaks out at his dad and punches him. And then I wrote Triss leaves and is angry, but it should be Trish. I don't know why I thought Triss, but okay. And then Hardin he's having some major sad boy hours. So they go back to the apartment and Tess leaves to go on a walk instead of comforting her boyfriend.
She's just like, I'm going for a walk. Bye.
He's like having an emotional breakdown. She's like, I'm gonna head out. And yeah, so then Hardin gets even more drunk and smashes things and then falls asleep on a chair. And then Tessa comes back in, of course, doesn't bring him to the bed, like doesn't do anything, just goes to sleep. How loving and caring, you know?
Yeah. And then she just leaves the next morning.
Yeah, and then she leaves him wearing... Okay, I'm glad that they did her outfits justice for this one, at least. Like, they did it a little better.
A little bit better, yeah.
Yeah, they're as ugly as I pictured in the books.
They're supposed to be dreadfully ugly. Like, just, like, okay. Like, I understand, like, modest dressing. And, like, that's totally fine. But, like, she goes beyond that. Just, like, poor taste.
Yeah, like picture like 2013 2014 style, like how hideous it was already, but then picture that with like every neckline is like really high and just like nothing matches. It's just, it looks cheap, you know?
Yeah it's just supposed to be
looks.
The worst.
Yeah,
the worst.
like she shops like exclusively at like 2013 quote unquote the Gap.
Yeah,
so picture that.
So it's technically the day after Christmas, this day, like I don't know, like they just went to his dad's house for Christmas and they fought and that was it, I guess. Um, and his mom has just his mom has just gone back home.
Yeah.
Like she flies home on Christmas,
It's
apparently.
so immature of her too. To just leave him.
I know. And like, okay, anyway. So Tessa goes into work. Her and Trevor are the only ones in the office. And Trevor tells her that he's actually moving to Seattle for this expansion that they're doing. So they're having like adding another office building or something. And um, eventually Harry wakes up and like actually talks to his dad and tries to fix things with him, which I don't think happened in the book until like book 3, 4, maybe. Um, and then the day's over. And they decide to go to a New Year's Eve party at the frat house, which I don't know how we like skipped a week, but we did. And as they're getting ready, Vance calls Tessa and offers her a job at the new building in Seattle. She doesn't mention it to Harry. She just kind of like, let me think about it, which is fine. But of course, she would never bring it up to Harry because she just is like, it's not up to him. And obviously, it's going to make him angry. But then they go to this New Year's Eve party. And one thing that really bothered me about this New Year's Eve party is that as soon as they get there, Harry's like, oh, Tessa, do you want to go play beer pong and be on Zed's team? Which Harry has the biggest problem. Hardin has the biggest problem with Zed because the bet was between them. Mm-hmm. So like it was whoever could sleep with Tessa first.
And so Zed gets really, really far. Like, yeah. In the first one.
And then he like stops because he likes her actually. So this would never happen, which bothered me a lot because like that was a huge part of the books as well.
And that's like, I mentioned this at the beginning, but that's like something they had to work around with the plot because like Hardin doesn't have a problem with Zed in these films because like there was never a romantic connection between the two in the beginning.
Yeah. Which I don't know, I feel like it's so important. And they're actually playing against Steph and Tristan, and for some reason they say all of their lines together. Like they both say them at the same time. It's very weird. And also in the cups is cherry vodka sour, which is the drink from the books. Like I want one. Like I just want one. Like I've never had one.
But why was it clear?
I don't know.
Like why was it clear and why was she taking it like it was a shot?
I don't know.
Like it's a mixed drink and it should be like red and like syrupy.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so while she's playing beer pong with Zed, Steph, and Tristan, Harry goes to find this girl who is named Jamie and is like, can I talk to you upstairs? At the same time, Molly shows up and no one pays attention to her. And then we kind of just like fast forward through the night. Tessa finally finds Harry and Molly's just like being awful about everything, like them just being together. And to get back at her, Tessa's like, let's play truth or dare, which I don't think they showed in the first movie, but like truth or dare is just like a disaster waiting to happen with this friend group.
Oh, they do have it in the first movie.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's just Molly and Tessa going back and forth at each other, being like, are you an idiot for staying with Harry? And then it kind of ends with Tessa asking Molly if it is true that I'm going to say this nicer than she does, but if it's true that she's a slut.
Like, we do not need the slut shaming. Like, it was so annoying of Tessa to even like say that.
Like she does it in the book too, and it's just like, no, like we've moved past from that. Like that, we don't need that.
It's 2021.
Yeah,
we don't need that.
And they like literally attack each other, which was like really funny to see. But basically they just Harry carries Tessa away and they go up to his, I guess it's his old frat frat house room.
Yeah, he still pays rent there and he pays dues, which is like crazy how he can stay in all of these places. I guess when you have a rich father who's the chancellor, it doesn't matter, but
He's also supposed to technically have a work from home job for Vance, and like he gets paid like $1,000 a week. We don't like they never mention that, but that's like how he finances everything without using his dad's money because he hates his dad. But they sleep together again, and they finish right on the 0 countdown for New Year's. Yeah. And so after all that's done, Trevor texts Tessa while she's in the bathroom, and Harry checks it, and it says, I'm excited to like work with you or see you and spend time with you in Seattle, because like he thinks that Tessa's moving to Seattle. And then Harry walks out of the room, and then Tessa sees Harry. Sorry. Tessa sees Hardin talking to Jamie downstairs, and Jamie's like, I never kiss and tell. And Tessa like hears that and like immediately goes to the worst place in her mind, runs out of the building, kisses some random guy right in front of Harry, and then starts yelling at him about how terrible of a person he is.
and then she starts crying and then gaslighting him. That was so annoying to me.
Like that was like when in the book when you really notice how like toxic Tessa was, at least for me. Like she is awful like all that time, but that's really like she just assumes the worst in him and just does that to spite him, even though he's really did nothing, and he's trying to apologize to people in his past to be better for Tessa, which is like a good step forward for him, but she's just like, screw you, I'm gonna ruin this.
I mean, if someone has like apologized to you and like you are back in a relationship with them, in like a relationship there should be trust, right? Like obviously, and he's under the assumption that she trusts him.
And like yes, he's like very like protective and territorial, but like that doesn't have to do with like this part.
Yeah.
He's just like very jealous, like it's jealous very easily.
And it's so manipulative of her to just bring up the same issue over and over again whenever she does something wrong.
Yeah. And that makes you hate Tessa. Yeah.
Okay. So the next morning, I guess Hardin wakes up and his phone is dead. He wakes up on a couch outside of the frat house, and Tessa also like wakes up and she is confused as to what happened last night because she was hammered, and so she leaves her house and goes looking for Hardin because she's called him like 1,000 times and texted him. And so then Hardin calls Tessa back after he gets a phone charger and he's driving to see her. And so as he's calling her, she is like reaching over for her phone at a red light, and the light turns green and she starts driving, and all of a sudden someone T-bones her. And so
like it happens, but like what?
It all happened so fast. And then Hardin and this girl that he's driving with, who's like giving him a ride home, end up passing these ambulances, and Hardin sees Tessa being taken away in a stretcher, and he runs after the ambulance and is chasing it with his arms flailing and screaming, and it's just so bad. And
it's the funniest.
Like, I don't know what was funnier, like him falling during ice skating or this scene. Like, I had to go back and watch it like 3 times. I was laughing so hard. Yeah, and so then he goes back to his apartment because obviously he can't outrun an ambulance. And he's calling a bunch of hospitals. Like, how many hospitals are there in the area that she would be? Like that
he calls 5 hospitals and she's not at any of them.
Yeah. And so this also doesn't make sense because he has her location. How does he not know what hospital she's at?
Yeah.
because her phone is on. And we know this because he calls her, and guess who picks up? Fucking Trevor. And so, Trevor picks up the phone. Tessa had him as her emergency contact, I guess, after this falling out occurred. And so Trevor answers the phone. He's like, "You're toxic and you're bad news." And I was laughing so hard. It was so funny. But then he's like, "You should stay, if you really love Tessa, you should stay away from her for her own good." And so he's like, "I bet," and then leaves the country.
He goes to London.
Leaves to London.
Doesn't tell her where he's going.
Yeah, he just leaves her this like stupid note, and then goes to London. And then, okay, in the first movie / the books, his mom lives in like an awful apartment, like in a horrible neighborhood. Like it is a dump. She has nothing. And then you look at like the scenes of him in his mom's house, and it's like a nice apartment. Or
Yeah.
house in London. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. And so his nightmares are getting worse, and Tessa is all in her feels. And then Hardin starts applying to schools in England, I think.
I don't know.
And that's how that situation ends.
And it's like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, why did he do that? I don't know. But like, also one part that I have to mention, because it makes me sad and happy at the same time. In this, when Harry goes to London, his mom's like, "Well, I'm not alone, actually. I have like this friend, the neighbor, Mike." But Mike is actually Harry's, like, it's supposed to be Harry's stepdad, Robin, who like recently passed away. But it made me like, I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
sad."
that's sad.
But anyway, moving on. We're almost at the end of the movie somehow.
We're so close.
We're so close. And Anne tells Harry that, sorry, Trish tells Hardin that he should go home and see Tessa, because there's this party that somehow she knows about it, that Vance is throwing, because they're moving to Seattle for this expansion or whatever. So she's like, "Go to her. Tell her you love her." Anyway, at this party, Smith asks Kimberly to marry his dad. It's really cute. It sounds weird, but it's like kind of cute.
It was
in
really
my
cringy
opinion.
to me.
Oh, I thought it was a little cute. But that happens, and like as soon as that's over, Trevor confesses to Tessa that he's the one who told Harry to leave, and she's like, "What?" Like, she can't process it. And then she sees, oh, I said Harry, didn't I?
You said Harry a lot, but I feel like people will know. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Then she sees Hardin at the like balcony in the house, and her champagne glass falls out of her hand, shatters on the floor, and then she runs away and doesn't help him clean it up.
She's even like, she's like, "Oh, sorry," and then
Like,
just runs
"Oh,
away.
I dropped this. Bye." And runs out, and then Hardin runs after her, and then thinks she drove away, but
Ubered, you mean?
Ubered away because her car's totaled. But she didn't. She's still there. And somehow, without really saying anything, they make up, and she opens the door for the Uber that has now pulled up actually for her. And they go to drive away together, as we see Trevor coming out of the house, watching them leave. And it ends with Harry getting a new tattoo across his back.
It's so trashy.
That's like awful. Like awful. I don't remember what it says, but it's bad. It's like a quote from Wuthering Heights or something.
Why, dear God?
So bad.
Why?
And as they leave this tattoo parlor and they're going back to their apartment, this man walks up and he's like, Tessa. And then Harry like pushes them up against the wall. And she's like, Dad? And then it ends.
What a journey.
What a movie.
Before we conclude though, we do have a little game that we'd like to play. So our game is, so we want to have like a game in every episode, like a little fun game, since like describing movies probably takes like a lot less time than describing an entire season of a show. So today we're going to take a little quiz. Do you belong with Hardin or Trevor from After We Collided? So this quiz is available on popbuzz.com if anyone wants to take it. So
we'll include it in the info thing.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you look for in love? Someone who challenges me, someone who makes me swoon, someone who makes me laugh, someone who treats me right, someone who is intelligent, or someone who's passionate.
No.
Passion.
For me personally, I'd say the laughing one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We should take it once, like just us together.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool.
What's your biggest turn off? I can't deal with arrogance, someone who takes himself too seriously, people who don't listen, bad hygiene, dishonesty, and snobbery.
I think I'd say the dishonesty.
Yeah. Or what about someone who doesn't listen?
Yeah.
Or bad hygiene. These are all turn-offs.
They're all bad.
I guess dishonesty.
Okay.
Yeah. Describe your dream date. Expensive candlelit dinner, lake swimming in our underwear.
Oh, God.
Take me to the cinema. Something adventurous, Netflix and chill, surprise me. I already know what you're gonna say.
What am I gonna say?
You would say take me to the cinema, I bet.
Okay, like I think that's a good first date, but I think like I would actually choose something adventurous. Like I think that can go in so many different directions.
Oh, I 100% agree. I chose that one. Pick an after character. Okay. Molly, Landon, Tristan, Steph, Noah, or Zed. They all suck.
They're all like the worst characters.
Who do I like? I'm gonna have
I was gonna say Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan's great.
I feel like Tristan's good because like it's like you see this in the movies, but like in the books, he's always there for Steph, like regardless of what she does, which is like kind of bad, but also like he's a good guy.
Yeah, wait. Is Tristan bad in the third one? You know how like Steph is bad?
Yeah, but I don't think Tristan had anything to do with that.
Okay.
I don't remember.
We won't spoil it for you, but we hate Steph.
Yeah.
Okay. Choose a subject area to study in. Arts and humanities, business and economics, social studies, medicine, education, or law. Yeah, obviously. Arts and humanities. Truth or dare? Dare.
But if we were really Tessa, we would go with truth.
No, but we're ourselves.
I know, I'd go with truth.
Okay, well, you've chosen all of them, so I'm going with dare.
I thought we were agreeing on them.
Battle of the After Bops and Ballads. Ariana Grande, Dangerous Woman, Little Mix, Love Me or Leave Me, Selena Gomez, Good For You, Alessia Cara, Out of Love.
Where's the fray?
I know. I don't like any of these songs.
But I would have to, if like out of these options, I would say Little Mix because of the irony.
I'd say that because of the irony, but I also don't know the song, but I'll pick it anyway. Okay, which After movie is supreme? The second one, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it. Okay, calculating our results. Oh.
Oh no.
So unfortunately, we belong with Trevor.
What?
So we belong with Trevor. You're looking for a guy who is a sweet prince in the streets and kinky freak in the streets. Sheets. Trevor is caring, gentle, and intelligent. He never hides his feelings for you, and he makes sure to treat you like the queen you are. When it comes to the bedroom, Trevor is down for whatever you want. Just say the word.
Do we ever learn that about Trevor?
No, but I can see it.
Okay.
Wow, what a ride we've been on today.
I can't believe we ended up with Trevor. Like, he's honestly just as bad in his own way. The fact that he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna decide that Harry's gonna leave forever. Harden.
Yeah, he is toxic.
I mean, I'm a little upset with that quiz, but it's fine.
We've ended on a bad note.
But to wrap up the movie, in my opinion, the third one will be the best. I just know it because it has to be.
Yeah, but what if the pandemic ruins it?
If anything ruins it, it's not going to be the pandemic.
I mean, it was ruined when Anna Todd wrote it.
Yeah, I mean, but
I'm sorry, Anna Todd, if you ever see this, don't come for me, okay? I'm sorry.
Like, honestly, defined our high school careers.
Yeah, and honestly, how fitting that we're watching this in quarantine right now. Like, I feel like I'm like personally reverting back to my 14-year-old self. So I think that this was perfect for me right now.
Yeah, the serotonin that is released when I hear any One Direction or 5 Seconds of Summer song. Yeah. It makes me feel good.
Yeah. I feel like I'm home. You know?
I was gonna like sing home, but I forget the words.
Home. Don't forget where you belong. Is that what it is?
Don't forget where you belong.
Never mind.
But they do say home in that, so we'll go with that.
Also, thank you to Lonely Loquacious for suggesting this because I wouldn't have known it was on Netflix. Well, I guess you would have, but I wouldn't have if she didn't suggest it.
Yeah. And I'm so happy to be back because it means we get to spend time with each other.
We can't exactly
go on a hike.
Yeah. It's also dead of winter right now, so
I know.
we really can't do any outdoor activities. So this is all we have.
Yeah, it feels like March all over again.
Yep.
But this brings me through it, and I'm excited for season 3, and I can't believe this will be like our 25th episode technically, and like we've made so much content, and just I'm really proud of us. Aww. And like thank you to everyone. We like somehow got to 600 followers by the new year.
Now we're like halfway through 600.
It's crazy.
We're almost at 700 at this point.
Like, this community is wonderful, and you're all great, and thank you to everyone who's supported us thus far.
And by the time you see this, we should have like a TikTok with some of our highlights, I hope. Yeah, and we're on YouTube. We will be on like that consistently actually this time. And then and we are on Instagram. We post all the time, so definitely follow us. It is How Have We Never Podcast. Our Twitter is How Have We Never. Yeah. And our Facebook is How Have We Never Seen This Before. And yeah, so follow us on those for some more content. We post like a lot more content on Instagram, so if you're going to pick one of those, I'd pick Instagram.
Yeah. But with that, thank you for listening to the first episode of season 3. You will be getting weekly content from us, actually. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah.
Actually, see you. Or you'll see us.
I will be calling him. So see you.
Ooh, okay, bye.
Bye.